Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Dean Rogers. Welcome back to the Dean Rogers Show. Today, we've got another special guest, Mr. Alex Mora. What's up, Alex?
Hey, what's up, Dean here, man?
What's up?
It's
What's up?
Friday, so just trying to end the day here, the good note with this interview, man.
There we go. I'm going to poke and prod you and get some information out of you and find out about like your story, what's made you successful. I know you in our local market in Central California, and you're one of the top dogs, man. And, you don't get there by mistake. You don't get there by not overcoming a lot of adversity, by not persevering. So I'm curious to find out some more information about you today. I know we haven't like spoken in depth like this. Who knows what's going to happen? There might be tears, we might be hugging through the camera. I don't know what's going to happen here, but we're about to find out what happens when I poke you. So I know we were talking a little bit before, and when you came out of college, I mean, you've pretty much been doing real estate your whole life, and you got started an internship doing some investment stuff, but really soon after got into real estate. So we're going to uncover that. And to this point, you've got a family business. You've got a lot of Moras running around, and you guys have a new company, Mora Partners. You guys are doing development, commercial. You have a brokerage, all your real estate investment stuff. So that's pretty great. Now, if you guys are listening, you guys want to get in contact with Alex, you can go to Instagram, Alex Mora REI, Alex Mora REI. We'll have it up on the screen for you. But dude, let's get into it, man. I want to learn more about you today. Let's dive into it.
All right, man. So yeah, thanks for the introduction, Dean. That was awesome. Maybe you look good, but on this podcast. But yeah, man. I mean, let's talk about it. I mean, let's see. One story. Actually, a lot of folks don't know. I don't know if you want me to just kind of go in.
Let's get
And
into
tell
it,
me
man.
how it all started.
Yeah.
So, people think, real estate, right? How do we start real estate, right? But let's go before that. Let's go way before that. How and then we'll probably end up on how I got into real estate. So, well, let's see where this goes. But anyways, just to make this interesting, I grew up here in Bakersfield, born and raised in Bakersfield. Didn't really know much about real estate. Actually, I was just trying to, figure out what I want to do with the world. But before all that, started really, I used to work with my dad, mowing lawns back when I was, let's say 11 years old, maybe third grade, fourth grade, right around there.
Yeah.
Right. So, that's when the first family business started. Actually, it was the lawn service. And what's interesting about that is that, and how it relates to real estate today, to this date today, is that our name got around during that time, right? We were kids. I was in elementary. I was working hard. I didn't do, summer vacation, nothing like that. We were always working. We had to make a living for ourselves. We had to help for dad. And, what was, the connection between that growing up and having a family business and real estate today is that we were in every corner of Bakersfield, right? We were going up and down every street, back in the day, you didn't have no Google Maps or MapQuest. You had the big maps, you had to print. And my dad would always carry these maps in the truck, and he would always put them on the hood, on the ceiling, right? Not the hood, but the ceiling.
Really?
So they would always be there, right? So anytime a client would call in or wanted a quote or whatnot, we look at the map and we know exactly where that street was at. So we did that so much over the years, and I did that up until I was in college, that we got to know every side of the town, right? We got to know every corner. We got to memorize a lot of streets. So a lot of these streets that are mentioned today, I know exactly where they're at because they've been ingrained from, 30 years ago. And not only that, but the whole relationship building, Okay. I didn't know how gardening was going to help me in my real estate business today. Right. And the relationships that we built during that time. So what's interesting is that, growing up, we were door knocking. We were door knocking looking for business. We were driving by just like the way we drive by today for driving for dollars and this and that, door knocking and prospecting. We were already doing that at 10 years old, looking for lawn service.
Dang.
So, me and my brothers would go, my dad just gave us a stack of cards. Like, hey, mijo, go pass out business cards. Let's see how many more lawns we can get. So we were already doing that. We were doing that from the get go. And so we learned just by doing it, right? And those relationships that we built from 30 years ago are still around today. And some of these relationships, in the real estate world, and a lot of these guys that we service were actually attorneys. They were, some of them were real estate brokers. Some of them were big real estate brokers that they're still in business today that would appreciate, that appreciate our business today. And we're still doing deals. So they knew us back when, growing up, uh, whether we were servicing their lawn or their neighbor's lawn, but our name got around
Yeah.
until today. That's that connection's still holding pretty strong. Just the other day, as a matter of fact, um, I bought a house for one of my dad's past clients. So,
No way.
whenever they're, yeah, actually taking the, actually we've had a lot of these transactions where a lot of the past clients, like from the lawn services, they have reached out to us for business, or they're sold us their property. Some of them had a lot of property, some of them were brokers and whatnot, but they know now that we're a player in the market. So, just to make a long story short, you know, I guess the moral of the story here is building relationships is huge, right? And to this day, just being able to build upon those relationships, make it stronger, is a skill that we've built from 30 years ago, and we still do that today.
Yeah, I love that.
And
So
that's huge, right?
I bet you spending time with your dad working on the landscaping business, mowing lawns, like that had to have taught you, hard work. Had to, teach you the value of, what a good day's work is like. You were already working with people, like face to face relationships, like that. Those are skills that most people just don't have, is the ability to, you know, go do a transaction with someone and like build a relationship with someone. And so you doing that at a young age, I'm sure really helped set you up to be comfortable to do that, as an adult.
Yeah. We would take phone calls. We would take voicemails, from all these cards that we passed out. We were the ones calling back because my dad didn't know. He knew a little bit of English, but we would actually call back the prospect, right? Call them back and close them. So just the way we call back a lead today in real estate, wholesale investments, whatever it is, we were already doing that 30 years ago when we were, in third grade. So we've
That's
applied
hilarious.
that into our business today. So, and it's like everything else, right? You apply these skills that you learn and you apply them to any aspect of your life, really.
Yeah.
So, and another cool story behind that is that, we would, we did all through high school too. So, again, through college and whatnot. So that got our first car, just kind of working the weekends with my dad. So when I was a junior in high school, me and my brother bought our first car. We were able to afford that because we were, servicing lawns over the weekend. But the more interesting thing about that we played football all 4 years in high school. And you can appreciate this because, you're a NFL player yourself. um, we actually during the hot summers when we do two-a-days, morning and evenings or late afternoons, we would we would do mornings football practice. All right, my mom would pick us up from football practice, take us to our dad wherever he was at, whatever side of town. We work till about 5 o'clock or whatever, and then he'd drop us off at football practice at the stadium parking lot. in the in the truck, the servicing truck. So, I mean, that's kind of who we were. That's who we were. That's what we did. Up until we graduated from high school, and then we were able to make a name for ourselves.
Yeah.
But we had that hard work ethic grained in us from when we were since we were like 10 years old.
Yeah.
So every day, we didn't have any summer breaks. Not for us. We didn't have President's Day weekend, which is this weekend coming up, right?
Yep.
We didn't have no breaks like that. We were working pretty much on weekends except Sundays. We would always go to church on Sundays, and then here comes Monday, a holiday. We didn't get no day. We didn't get no break off. So we were always hard workers, I guess you can say.
That's awesome, man. That's pretty incredible. Talk about giving you some good life lessons and some good work ethic when you're young, set you up. So talk about you ended up going to college, came out of college, got started an internship. Like, how did you find real estate? Well, what was it about real estate that you were like, this is for me, this is what I'm going to do? Like, how did you even start in real estate?
Um, I didn't know a lot of people in real estate before. I was in college, graduated from there, and apparently that's when I graduated in '06, but that's when right around the real estate bubble started heating up. Maybe I didn't know any better really. I wasn't tracking real estate. I didn't know that that's what I wanted to do. I actually uh, first thought I was going to be an accountant, and then I didn't like that. I didn't like those classes. I hated accounting. And then I just said, you know what, let's try finance. And I got a degree at business with a concentration in finance. Um, but then it's still then I didn't know, I didn't know what kind of finance major do, right? So I explored different things. I got into, me and my buddy took internship at Smith Barney, for a financial advisor, money manager. So we got some pretty good exposure there. We were actually working for the brokerage, for a money manager at that time. I think this guy managed over 200 mil. And I got to see that side of the real estate investment world. He was mostly doing retirement. So he was investing a lot in bonds and, you know, uh, very low risk, investments and stocks and bonds and all that. So I got to see a little bit of that, what that was. It was mostly all client management, relationships, calling folks. We were just kind of following up with his, clientele and just helping them service his clients. And then, I don't know. Something about me sitting at the desk all day. I didn't really like that. Um, and so I said, you know what? I'm just going to go figure it out right now and try real estate. Why real estate? Maybe during that time, I guess you could say I was probably hearing, all these, everyone making money off of real estate. I was young. I wanted to make money. So at that time, I got actually started. I got licensed, I think, in '07, '08. So I studied probably for about half a year to get licensed. So I didn't do anything really. And then I got my broker's license right off the back. Back then, you didn't require any experience to get a broker's license. So, I was a broker within a year and a half with no experience. Okay. So here I
Oh,
am trying to see what I can do with my life. And so, uh, eventually got into real estate and then the market crashed, right? Um, the market crashed. I didn't know any better. So, you know what I mean? Like that's how I knew real estate.
so you were like pretty new
Uh,
at that time when that happened, right?
I was, I probably got
Did
maybe,
that scare the crap out of you, or what? How did you react to that at that time?
um, you know, not necessarily because, like I said, I didn't know any better. I didn't know any better, and at that time, I was just like, okay, well, I'm still living with my parents. I have my own car. I don't have overhead or nothing like that. So it was just okay. Well, let's figure it out. Let's see what I got to do to make money in this market. So it was not like, I had all this overhead and then boom, market crashed and now what am I going to do? I didn't really see that coming in. Like I said, I was still trying to figure out, uh, what I wanted to do. So I didn't know any better. So at that time it was short sales, getting,
Mm,
learning how to do short sales. And then, eventually, people got interested in buying again. And so I had to go to trainings to do short sales. Again, I didn't have a brokerage. I didn't have a broker or mentor at that time. It was just me trying to figure it out. So I would go to all these trainings and so I learned how to get in. I learned real estate by doing short sales. And then eventually the, REOs, the bank foreclosures and all that kind of came gradually after that. But in between all that time is when I, started to see all these foreclosure notices on doors. I didn't know what that was. And I would just go up to them and read them and say, hey, well, there's an auction coming up here, on so and so date. And at that time, I had a buyer I was showing as the buyer agent. I was showing him around and he started to notice these notices too. And we were like, well, let's see what these auctions were about. Okay. That's how I ended up at the auctions. And that's where I met, Armando Bañuelos, along with all the other investors that were there buying, and they were just looking at me like, who's this young kid out here, at the trustee auctions? They didn't want me there. They probably thought I was this big investor trying to, buy properties out there, which I was. I was just trying to learn. I was trying to figure out who these people were at that time, really. But, eventually I ended up at the trustee auctions, and then that's kind of where, I made all of my connections, and then got into the real estate investment side of the world, of the real estate world. Sorry. Um, but that's kind of how I stumbled into real estate and into real estate investments.
I mean,
So
you got started during an interesting time, man.
yeah, I guess you could say that. So I can say that right now looking back, and yeah, I mean, it was an interesting time, for me. Again, I didn't know any better, and it was just like, okay, market crashed, the Wall Street crashed, it was like a huge financial mess. So I can say, at least to this point here in the economy we're in today, this recession, or whatever you want to call it, is nothing like it was in 2008, 2009.
Yeah, you got an interesting
So
perspective, right? I mean, would you compare anything to it? Would you say this is just like nothing?
nothing. Hmm. I would say, I mean, let's see, let's take a little ride, back in 08, 09. I remember a lot of mortgage companies, mortgage brokers shutting down. I remember, real estate brokerages just shutting down. I remember banks shutting down, like literally close their doors. Mutual, I think it was, um, I can't think of the name right now, but it was a lot of banks in the area that were just shutting down. Brokers were just going out of business. A
Yeah.
lot of these, broker, what they call, account executives, were going out of business, and these guys were making a ton of money, they were making a ton of money, and they were just not showing up anymore. So, so pretty much like all these wholesale line of credit just went out. They just completely shut down. I guess you can say, maybe to kind of give you an idea what it felt like, is when COVID happened, when when the commercial, lines of credit shut down like for 3 weeks, when pretty much Wall Street shut down or paused like for 2 or 3 weeks to see what was going to happen. That's what it felt like in 2008, 2009.
Okay.
But it wasn't like a quick fix, and COVID happened. You got your stimulus, came in right away. They dropped the rate down,
Right.
right away. Right. So that got things going right away, and, prices appreciated, right? That's where everybody started making money in the last 3, 4 years, however long it took to get us out of that. But it was nothing like that before. But pretty much it was like everything paused, and it just paused, and then nothing went up. Everything just completely crashed. There was no stimulus back then. I don't know how long it took them to stimulate the economy. I don't know how long it took them I don't remember, at least, how long it took them to drop rates. They sure didn't drop them as slow as they did back, when COVID happened. So, that had to gradually, like, all this inventory had to gradually come back into the market. And I would say the market started turning around till about 2013. So it took them about,
Took
let's say,
a hot
5
minute.
years.
Yeah, it took a while.
Yeah. Yeah. It took a while. And I mean, here we are, right? Things are still a little stable, and and then you can talk about inventory and supply and demand. Before, there's a hell of a lot more inventory before than there is today. And today, where we at right now in the market, we still consider it a pretty, I mean, at least here locally, still considered undersupplied market.
Well,
You
I think the interesting thing is you were able to come through that. And then, like, what did your investing journey look like that? Because you started in as a real estate agent, right? You then became a broker. You then were working through short sales, got into investments. Where did your business go from there? Like, how did you really grow in the investment side? What type of, challenges did you face coming through that? And like, how did you find your success? Like, how did you find what worked for you?
Yeah, you know what? For just being myself. To be honest with you, being myself really got me the relationships I have today. And early on, when I connected with Armando back in the day, I didn't know him, but I can tell you that just being myself and just being genuine. And I say this because I talk about this all the time, and I kind of preach this in my meetups. Just being genuine and being yourself has really gotten me to where I'm at today. I know when I was first interviewed to join the team, in this case, it was Armando Vignolo's team. He was looking to expand, and they were just looking to expand. They were looking for help, and I just raised my hand and say, "Hey, let's see what we can do. Let's see how I can help you." And long story short, they interviewed, I think, 3 or 4 guys, and I was one of them. And they chose me because, well, aside from the connection we had, I was the only guy that did not ask about commissions or how much this was going to pay out. Okay, I was the only guy that was not asking how much I was going to make, kind of commissions, or what was going to be the split for every listing. I was the only guy that I didn't ask about that. So I took that as a learning opportunity. I took the job as a learning opportunity as well. So just like, all these young kids out there right now trying to learn real estate, first connect with someone who's already doing it and see how you can add value to them, right? At that point, I didn't know how I was adding value, but this is actually a good tip for you guys. And you guys are listening to this right now, is learn how to add value, learn what you're worth, and learn how to apply that value to someone else, right? So let's say, you want to join Dean Rogers' team, right? How can you help Dean Rogers, right? What can you do? You have no experience, but you want to get into investments. How are you going to connect with Dean Rogers here? So, give me a second here. So I got my battery going up. Just knowing what you're good at. What are you good at? What do you do? Just the other day, I was talking actually to one of my wife's cousin. They're young kids out of Arizona. And they do construction. They work with their dad. They just graduated out of high school. They're not going to college, but they know how to do construction. They do repairs for a builder out there. And they asked me, "Alex, how can I get into real estate investments?" Well, I said, "Look, you're already working for the guys, for the investors. Let's turn the script. Let's turn first, let's work on that mindset, right?" And he was kind of probably reading something, because he did ask me what was my mindset before, what was my mindset when I got into real estate. And well, I wasn't really into mindset or development at that point, or self-development at that point, but it seemed like he was reading something, because the first question he asked me was, "What was your mindset?" And right away, I knew that this guy he's up to something, right? So anyways, just to move on with this, is first know how you can add value to someone. This kid was working already with other investors, builders and whatnot. I asked him, "Hey, look, first, when you're out there, ask them how can you team up with them so you can get into investments, right? It's like they want something from you and you want something from them, right? So it's a trade-off. So that's where your value is at, right? That's where you're gonna connect with someone else. So if I were at that point, if I was working out there in construction business, that I would ask, I would just start connecting with my investor, the guys that pays you, or the guy managed the project, whoever it is, start asking him questions, and so instead of like being, hey, well, I don't know, I just know how to fix tile or put tile. Well, you gotta recognize that that's a huge value that you have, and you gotta learn how to leverage that to make your connections, right, and get into the business.
So
So,
was that a really important thing for you as you went through your journey? Like you were always looking to build those relationships. What exactly what were some of those relationships that you developed? Because I mean, was it like just a couple people? Was it one person? Was it doing deals with a bunch of people? Like what did that look like for you when you were looking to build those relationships?
um, well, you know what? For a lot of the years, I didn't know any better. To be honest with you, I wasn't really doing a lot of self development, but it wasn't until then when I really discovered that, you know, you can leverage your value, right? You can leverage your story. You can leverage yourself to get into and connect with others, right? And by just knowing how you can, but just kind of pretty much just being a chameleon, really, and being out there and see how you can help each other. Really, it comes down to, I was at this event and this guy put it really good. I like the way he said it. He said it comes down to humans helping humans, right? It's like coming down to, man, I can't put the perfect words he had, but pretty much comes down to serving others at the highest level. That's what it is. How can you serve someone else at the highest level? Just from a human standpoint, right? And just being genuine by yourselves and see how you can figure it out. Whether I could add value to them directly, or if I knew that there's no way I can add value, maybe I can connect him with someone else that I know that can add value. At that point, I would do an introduction, maybe take him out on lunch and do a mutual meeting, and just know that I was there making that connection, right? So I just kind of found my way like that, into building other relationships. Now, like I said, it took me years for me to figure that out. Um, Probably until after, this is what's interesting. A lot of people don't know this, is this probably, I didn't know my value really until after, see, I left real estate investments. So by 2015, the market really started turning. There was not a lot of auctions at the time. And the business really, 100% of my business was real estate, auctions. So what happened was when I was working with this other group, a lot of that business was dying off. I wanted to get into the traditional side of real estate, which, listings, showing buyers, doing open houses and all that. So I got into that. I stopped working the auctions for a while. And then I figured out that I don't like doing the traditional real estate stuff. I don't like showing buyers. I don't like doing listings. I don't like meeting home inspectors. I don't like talking to, well, I talk to appraisers now. I still do it, right? But I didn't, I discovered something about myself during that transition that, I was so passionate about real estate investments that I left a part of me behind. You know what I mean? I left my passion. I left my passion. And it wasn't until I discovered that I said, you know what? I got to go back. I got to get back into REI. I got to get back into REI. And during that time, there's a lot of wholesalers everywhere. A lot of folks didn't know me as a real estate investor. Some of them knew me as a real estate investor, but by that time, wholesaling kind of blew up, right? So it was everywhere. You started seeing a lot of new kids, a lot of new faces, a lot of new investors. And so I kind of got lost in the mix, you can say, till about maybe 2017. I got back into real estate investments, and that's where I had to leverage my story, my knowledge, my value to get back and compete with everyone else. Okay. So here I am, like, okay, how do I get back into real estate investments? How can I start buying properties again? And that time it wasn't about going back into the auctions. It was about how, like who's doing the deals now? Like who's bringing the deals now? Where can I go to find the deals? And that's when I learned about wholesaling. Actually, I didn't know about wholesaling back in 2008, 2015. I didn't know about wholesaling until when I decided to go back into real estate investments by 2017. I said, what is wholesaling? Now, who are these guys wholesaling properties? And during that time, I had to do some homework. I had to go back and do homework And I actually planned it out. I said, how can I get in front of these guys? How can I connect with everyone in the market as a buyer? Interesting enough, I didn't know they were looking for me, right? Me as an investor, as a buyer.
Right.
I didn't know that. So I kind of had to go back and retrain myself and not retrain myself, but really take a deep look at my story and see how I can leverage that to add value and get back into the real estate investment side. Okay. So that was very interesting for me because I had to read books. I had to, more like, not some self development, but I had to go back and read, I guess books that highlighted myself, like how to stand out, how to, cause I had a good story before, I listed, thousands of property with the other investment group, but how did I come back and make a splash in the market and, stand out? So I had to do some reading, man. And to be honest with you, I had to go back and kind of find myself to get back into the REI world.
So let's talk about your journey. Did you have any times where you just got the living crap beat out of you and you just like were gut punched and made some mistakes and you had to like figure out how to overcome that? Did you have any of those times throughout your journey?
Yeah, I did. One was leaving REI and getting into a traditional business. I thought the grass was greener on the other side. At least for me, that was just my story. Thing is, I'm just so passionate with the investment side that, leaving that business, I could have just said, you know what, let me figure it out. Market's changing. I could have done that next. I could have probably figured out wholesaling back in 2015 if, if I had maybe a little bit more mentoring at that time, or maybe kind of got deeper into real estate investments. I just kind of follow what the other group did, and I know at the time, at least I didn't know of real estate wholesaling. So um, so leaving, but at the same time, it taught me a lesson, so uh, I look at the bright side.
So what are some things that you've done that you're like proud of? Like what are some of the things you've had to as you've overcome them, leveled up and like, all right, we did these kind of deals, or we were able to get past this kind of like revenue threshold. Like, what are some of the things throughout your journey that you were just like, all right, that was cool, and like you impressed yourself?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I had to pretty much go back and apply everything I had learned, working for this other group where I had to actually apply it myself, where I had to go back, raise capital. I had to go back, find my crews. I had to go back, find my deals, where before it was like, everything was already there. I was just helping them out. So I had to take all this knowledge, right? That I used to, that I helped someone. I learned all this by helping someone else, right? So I had to go back and actually apply it for myself, for my own business, to get back into the business. So I guess you can say that, um, once I discovered that I can leverage my story to raise capital, it was like, cha-ching, right? This is my way to start raising capital. This is how I can leverage my history to raise capital.
So
And
how
so,
important has raising capital been for you in your success? Like, is that kind of like the thing that helped you get to those other levels and have those breakthrough moments?
I would say so, yes. Without the capital, really, you can't do much in this business. Unless obviously if you're wholesaling, right? That's a different story. But I'm not necessarily wholesaling. I'm buying the properties and taking them down with OPM, right? Other people's money.
Yep.
So yes, raising capital is huge. And I actually love that, coming back from my, Smith Barney days, and kind of having that financial advisor mentality. Actually to this day, me and my buddy we actually, we did an internship together. He's a financial advisor to this day. So coming back from that, I've always been fascinated about the financial markets and Wall Street and all that. So I see myself raising capital, but for my real estate investments, right? Versus for, 401k retirement or for, for one of these other brokerages.
Yep.
So that's how I see myself really in the real estate side. I see myself as a banker, right? Raising capital. And then I deploy the capital into the real estate.
So tell me about Mora Partners. What are you guys up to now? I mean, you said development, commercial, investments, brokerage. I mean, those are a lot of big things all on themselves. So like what are you guys
Yeah.
up to?
Wow, man, it's amazing, dude. I mean, like I'm still you know, trying to see if this is really happening. But yeah, man, it's huge along the way. In business, you're gonna meet people, man, and you're gonna know how to connect with these people and how to get what you want, and they get what they want again, right? So it's just about leveraging your connections, leveraging your relationships, man. It's huge. That can change your business like this, from nothing, having nothing to, making millions in a few years or so. But yes, I mean, it's been amazing along, in the journey, you're going to have a lot of, you're going to meet a lot of people, some good, some bad. Someone wanted to do good with you. Some you think they want to do good with you. Some don't. And along the way, you're going to meet, that one person that's going to help you take your business to the next level. Okay. But you gotta know how to identify that. You gotta be in the business long enough and know about this business to know, these other people, right? And just be out there and actually know how to capture that opportunity. That's the other thing. A lot of folks don't know how to capture that opportunity. So, one of the things what I do when I'm out there networking, and this is why I do meetups, by the way, is that, and I attend other meetups, is about connecting with others, right? Building relationships. If you have an existing relationship, then make it stronger, by just continuing to show up and just talk and open up that conversation. But eventually, we met another gentleman, that has helped us put together a development commercial division. That
Okay.
now, um, this is what we're doing. Here we are 2 years later, a little bit 2 years later after we met him. We have probably like a little bit over 10 projects, that we have in the pipeline right now that we're servicing our clients. Okay. And then I started to buy up land as well for the same reason. So now we're servicing the commercial client, the commercial industrial client. Uh, it could be commercial, industrial, pretty much anything that's land that we've been able to service. So we've been doing that now. Let's see, we have commercial retail centers, we have gas stations, self storages, um, hotels, truck stops. And you don't see a lot of this stuff. I don't post a lot of this stuff because it's all coming together right now. But soon you're going to start seeing me post and talk a little bit about more about the commercial
You're
side
gonna
and
be
how
standing
we
on top of your hotel, man.
put
That's what
these.
you're gonna be
Dude, man, I'm trying to buy one right now. So now with that being said, this is a commercial. I'm buying commercial, guys. I'm buying commercial land, whether it's a hotel, a truck stop, a gas station, whether it's land, if I can build it or if I can buy it and, rehab it just what like we do properties today. That's what we're doing now. So, it does take a lot more time though for these projects. It does take a lot more capital. So we're not necessarily dealing with the same clientele, with the same client base. It's totally different from the residential side. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the same time, sorry, you want to cut you off there. At the same time, we're also starting getting into the leasing, So we're doing the development and the leasing, right? So in the commercial world, you either, you either own, oh, let's scratch that, let's scratch that. You can do development, right? So there's the development side, and then there's the actual sales and leasing side, right? So there's two parts of that. And actually you can break it down into so many other areas, but, we're doing, development services and then leasing services and then sales, of course.
Well, dude, you gotta let the people know, man. You can't hold out on us anymore. You got too many good things going on. You gotta share with the world so we can all support you. Obviously, that you know the power of relationships. So let some more people
Yeah.
know so we can celebrate some of those awesome wins.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna we're gonna do that here soon. We're planning for that. Actually, as a matter of fact, we have a new office. We're gonna be opening next month, and we're gonna be doing a grand opening, and we're gonna reveal all this stuff that we're going on. So we're kind of waiting for that to happen so we can have our showroom, and then we actually have the actual divisions are in this building. We have a development, investments, and then the brokerage side. So we actually have separate offices for all that, and we want to be able to reveal that. But in the meantime, we're working, man. We're kicking butt. We're making connections. We have some pretty huge developments going on here that I never thought I would be part of. So, me and my brother are involved in all those. Actually, he's more involved on that side. Excuse me. I still have a lot going on the residential side, but I'm behind it as well, and I help as much as I can. But at the same time, we're learning. We're learning as we're going, and we're learning to spot more opportunities as we're going into the commercial side as well.
Well, that's awesome, man. Dude, I'm excited to see where that goes. Those are some big projects you got on the works. I've seen little sneak peeks of some of the stuff you've got going on, and it's certainly motivated me. So, guys, if you're watching this, you want to connect with Alex, again, go to Alex Mora, REI, reach out to him. If you've got deals that are coming up, if you want to, just follow his journey, that's one way to do it. But Alex, thanks so much for being on, man. Lots of great stuff going on. I love your story about how you got started, how you've got your family business, and where you're going, man. So thanks so much for being on. And for the viewers, if you want to get in touch with Alex, make sure to reach out. Until next time, peace.
Peace out, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot
You
for
bet.
having me here, man. I hope somebody, if you're still recording, I hope somebody learns or just gets inspired, gets empowered to move forward. Believe in yourself. You can do it, man.
Heck yeah. Let's do it. All right, man. Thanks for joining, Alex. Catch you later, man.
Cool. All right, buddy. See ya, man. Thanks.
Peace.